morning, this is Bridget Talbot and my presentation on Instructional Design. What's on the agenda? Well, we're going to learn what Instructional Design is, ID for short, common ID models, categories these models fall in, and finally a real-world example. What is Instructional Design? It is creating successful learning tools. These can cover an array of options such as classroom learning, online, or a mixture of both, with materials that teach in-person instructional learning, workshops, and online learning. It is a profession with many options. The most interesting to me is a museum curator, which I've always gravitated to. I find the organizing and collecting of art and history fascinating, but the real joy would be getting to share that information with others. Robert Gagne's work is credited the foundation of instructional design. The first of the three learning styles is behavioralism. Based on the idea that conditioning creates behaviors, it is a process of reward versus penalty. The best example that I can think of is dog potty training, because I'm in the middle of doing it right now. Dog goes outside and gets a treat for using the bathroom. Each time that happens, the treat is reinforced, which creates a good habit for the dog. The dog wants a treat and rings a bell at the door to go outside, use the bathroom, and get a treat. Good behavior creates a reward. It also appears that these learners are passive in their learning, as though learning just happens instead of being active in the process. The skill or knowledge level is never assessed or inquired. The learning environment is very generic. All learners are treated the same no matter how different they might learn, or knowledge or skill set they already have on the subject. Behavioralism originated from the work of Ivan Pavlov, 1897, and John B. Watson, 1913. The second learning style is cognitivism. This theory explains how learners take in information to process, store, and use for later. A good example is a computer with files, and our brain is like a computer, and we access files as we need them, use the information, and store back for later use. This type of learning is reasoning, problem solving, and information processing. The most notable cognitivists are Jean Piaget, 1936, and Jerome Bruner, 1960. The biggest difference between behavioralism and cognitivism is that behavioralism learning comes from outside guidance, while cognitivism concentrates on how the learner mentally absorbs the information. The third and final learning style is constructivism. Simply put, is that learners do not passively receive information. Instead, the learners gain information through life involvement and thought. Constructivism is considered to be a branch of cognitivism. The difference there is cognitivism approaches learn as problem solvers. They work with their hands, very hands-on. These learners are active in gaining knowledge. These learners are open to constant change because they are engaged in building on existing knowledge and using all their information they learn. Jean Piaget is known for constructivism, 1936. The first model that we're going to go over of the 5 design models is ADDIE. It's an acronym. It stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implementation, and Evaluation. Each stage must be completed in order. The first one, analyze. Who, what, when, where, why, how. These answers will vary depending on the learners involved. Number 2, design is the creation of the training, like a storyboard of ideas. Brainstorming is how to relay the information to the learners. A job example that I would think would use this model would be an HR at any kind of company in the human resource department. Third, development, creating a visual training course and testing the materials, asking yourself, will the learner be able to understand the course as it is designed? Fourth is implementation, share with the learner. 5, evaluation, take feedback from the learner about the training. This model is widely used, but its roots are post-World War II. It helps manage the normative landings. I believe this model falls under behavioralism. Second design model is the Dick and Carey instructional model, as known as the systems approach model, created by Walter Dick and Lou Carey, 1978. Gestalt theory is applied here. The whole of anything is greater than its parts. The Kemp model take the Dick and Carey instructional model is that it promotes designers to view from the learner's needs. In this model, the steps do not follow a strict progression. For the Dick and Carey model, the steps are as followed. 1. Instructional goals. Need to figure out what the student needs to learn. 2. Instructional analysis. Need to determine skills and knowledge of the learners, and with that information determine the goal to fill the gaps. 3. Entry behaviors, learner characteristics. Assess the skills the learner has based on what was determined is needed for the lesson. 4. Performance objectives. What are the specific goals and objectives for the teaching? 5. Criterion. Reference test items. Create a test that will reflect what the learner needs to take away. 6. Instructional strategy. Outline the lesson plan by deciding how to teach the material so the learner can demonstrate the knowledge. 7. Instructional materials. Make sure props, models, maps, etc. are ready for the lesson. Print off any materials needed, handouts, and test materials. 8. Formative evaluation. Assess the lesson with the learners, get some feedback. 9. Summative evaluation. Revise what didn't work. A good job for this model would probably be the healthcare department in the healthcare industry, teaching nurses. I believe this model falls under behavioralism. Design model is Robert M. Gagne's 9 events of instruction. In 1965, Robert M. Gagne introduced a new approach to learning. He proposed that learning is best done using different methods. This model allows connection with the learners based on how they acquire knowledge. This led to better outcomes for the learners where they could become experts in subjects. The first step, gaining the attention of the students. Learning tactics to get the learners engaged. 2. Informing the learner of the objective. Quickly informing the learner of what the education will be and what to expect. 3. Stimulating recall of prior learning. Engage the learner by asking questions to recall what knowledge is had on the subject to be taught, so there is a refresher before the lesson starts. 4. Presenting the content with logic and organization. This is where the content is presented to the learner. Some kind of technology is also recommended. 5. Providing learner guidance. This is the process of getting the knowledge into the learner's long-term memory. Elicit the performance. This part is for the learner to show the understanding of the lesson however required. 7. Providing feedback. Feedback to the learner and reinforcement. 8. Assessing the performance. This is where a test, presentation, project, etc. is performed. So an assessment can be gauged on the understanding of the material taught. 9. Enhancing retention and transfer. Now, the learner takes the new knowledge and transfers the skill to the real world. Public speaking and teachers come to mind to me for this method, and I would think this method falls under cognitivism. Fourth design model is Merrill's principles of instruction. These principles were proposed in 2002 by Dr. David Merrill. He has been quoted to say information alone is not instruction, which I agree. Use these principles to make instructions effective, efficient, and engaging. He also says that students need to be able to demonstrate what is going to be learned for us to show them. Also give students a chance to apply what they learn and do this in the content of the real world problems. This is the real motivation. This motivation comes when students are able to do something they were not able to do before. 5 steps to this model. The first one is that it is problem-centered. It is a problem-centered model. 2, activation. Get learners' attention. 3, demonstration. What will be learned? 4, application. Apply new knowledge to real-world problems. 5, integration. Work new knowledge into existing knowledge. This theory falls under constructivism, and I believe that these principles can be used in any job, any skill set, just no matter what it is. I think you can apply it for anything. The fifth and final design model is rapid e-learning, which is also my real-world example. And this type of education is online. Training and knowledge takes place over the internet. Need to make the training visually stimulating with audio and color, creating interactive training that is brief and to the point. 1 month or less to develop the program. Content comes from the PowerPoint slides. Can complete the program in less than 2 hours, and easy and quick to change out material as needed. This design falls under cognitivism, and the word e-learning was first used in 1999. So this is a picture of Home Depot training. It is how Home Depot trains associates and customers, really. I mean, the same kind of classes are given for you to learn how to work on the floor, learning tasks and job title and job positions once you put an apron on. And Home Depot also does these training classes for homeowners to teach you how to be a do-it-yourselfer, which is the backbone of Home Depot. So that is my presentation. I look forward to hearing my classmates. Thank you so much.